I remember that before starting with visual novels, I spent almost 6 months doubting and being terrified about everything I had to learn. I won't lie, it's true that you need to learn a lot of things before even starting, but the reality is that there's nothing too difficult or impossible to learn. You just need to dedicate time to it. But let's start from the beginning. A visual novel like mine, the one you're seeing right now, consists of the combination of at least two elements. The first is the text, as the entire story is conveyed through it. Then we have the visual part, which consists of the image used to support the text. And although it's not mandatory, there's a third element that I find essential: sound. Introducing sound effects and music seems very important to me, and there are many visual novels out there that don't use this third dimension. The first thing you're going to need is a game engine. There's a lot of variety here: RPG Maker, Unity, Godot, or in my case, Ren'py. Ren'py is a free engine specifically designed for creating visual novels, which is why it seemed like the best option for me. Additionally, Ren'py is quite easy to use, to the point where I say you can learn the basics in just one afternoon, even if you have no prior programming experience. I did it. In the visual aspect, there are many more options. You can draw using AI, create renders with different programs. Anything that results in an image can work for you. In my case, I use renders made with Daz Studio. Daz is free, but the assets are paid. It could be a significant investment depending on what you want to create, but it usually delivers good results. Daz is not easy to master. It requires a lot of practice and experimentation. But there are many tutorials, and I think it's quite user-friendly for someone who has never done anything like this before. If I could learn, so can you all. So far, this is the basics for creating visual novels: an engine and something for the images. However, although I started this way, over the months I learned to use and more tools and programs to improve the results. So, I'll detail the other programs I use every day. The first major addition to my work is Audacity, a free audio editor that I use to mix and edit effects and music. As I mentioned, it's something I consider essential. I also learned to use Photoshop, which, to this day, I consider 50% of the quality of a render. It's not mandatory, of course, but learning to use an image editor can give a new perspective and depth to your images. In addition, there's also Hexagon, which is a program for editing 3D when Daz doesn't allow it. I use it infrequently, but in some scenes where there are complicated clothes or hair, it is very helpful. Along with Hexagon, there's also Blender, which, although more powerful, is also more complex to master, and I've just started using it. It's also necessary to have a video editor. In my case, I use Filmora. Although I only use it 3 or 4 times in the novel because making a montage requires many renders and sometimes it's not worth it. And besides that, I could include ChatGPT, which helps me with the translation and some programming elements, Irfanview for batch file modifications, and the usual Word and Excel for my notes and spreadsheets. So, in summary, I was afraid of how complicated the journey could be. And I was right, there is a lot to learn, but also because I decided to delve deeper because I'm enjoying the experience so much. Don't let my words scare you, as with a bit of motivation you could start making your visual novels with no more issues. However, I think it's interesting to show all the tools I end up using every day for each part of the project. I hope you enjoy it, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.